Yeah, I did change, and I'm really glad I changed.
This one's wife. Inappropriate again. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. Certain narcissists are brilliant at fitting in. The way that their narcissism has evolved, i.e., what they were created with, is such that they can assimilate information from people and understand that is how you act. You have to look very carefully to see cracks in the facade. You have to scrutinize to see if you might ever witness a 404 moment. If you don't know what that is, watch my video, The 404 Narcissist. The narcissism essentially absorbs the behavior of other people, their mannerisms, their tone, what is said and when, how somebody acts and at what appropriate time, and then utilizes that information to then furnish it with the narcissist at the appropriate juncture. So a simple example of that is that a narcissist sees somebody crying and understands that when somebody is crying, that they may well be in pain or they are hurt. And therefore, the appropriate response is to ask them if they are okay, to show concern, and to demonstrate that concern through body language, facial expression, and tone of voice. Although the narcissist doesn't actually care, there is an opportunity for the narcissist to control this person by the expression of false compassion. There is the opportunity to receive fuel from them and perhaps onlookers by way of a compassionate act. There is the opportunity to manage the facade. And in the circumstances, with certain narcissists, their narcissism has developed in that way, which enables them to understand the appropriate response. In some instances, no appropriate response is forthcoming. In some instances, there's a delay. In some instances, it's an inappropriate response that arises. And if you'd like to understand why it is that certain narcissists give themselves away, to at least those who are educated by my work, by failing to provide a response at all, or that there's a delayed response, or there is an incongruous response, you must absolutely watch The Imitation Game. Watch that. It's mind-blowing. This one's wife is a mid-range narcissist, which means she operates with a facade. On a one-on-one basis, she operates with a veneer. That her narcissism has learned, to an extent, how to conduct itself around other people to make it look like she cares, to make it look like she's got compassion, to make it look like she can fit in. Often, it gets itself into a muddle. Usually, when she faces a threat to control and we see her glitching, you see the narcissist glitch, you see the facade fracture for a moment. But in some instances, because she has no emotional empathy, we are able to witness her inappropriate behaviours, and the inappropriateness arises from the fact that she simply doesn't understand how to behave in that situation because she has no emotional empathy. A classic example of that comes to when she wears certain outfits. As we saw in Nigeria and Colombia, she goes to a school showing off skin. Reason being, one, she thinks she's beautiful and therefore wants the world to see it. Two, she behaves in a sexual way because she believes every man wants to knock her hip out, and she thinks by showing some skin, men are going to be more interested in her. Three, she doesn't realise the inappropriateness of showing that amount of skin in a conservative country and particularly around children because she doesn't have the appropriate boundary recognition and she doesn't have the emotional empathy guiding her behaviour to cause her to behave in an appropriate way. Thus, you get these instances of her inappropriate behaviour. And she's at it again. She's at it again when she turned up at an event for Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara, where she was supposedly helping with a new digital wellness program called Social Media U. You all know, because of my work, that she was there in order to control those people, to receive fuel from them and manage her facade. But what did she do while she was there? She talked about being one of the most bullied people in the world, and I've explained why she has done that in relation to her rampant victim mentality in a separate video. This video highlights that aspect of her narcissism whereby it's inappropriate for her to behave this way. Think about it. If you were to say to a child, "Hello, I'm one of the most bullied people in the world," what's a child going to respond with? "Oh, no wonder you are, because you're a complete see you next Tuesday." Of course not. The child might say, "What's a bully?" Or if they understand the concept of a bully, the most likely response from that child is, "That's right. Why?" My experience of crotch goblins, and I don't have any myself, having seen them, is they ask a lot of questions. Why? What? When? How? Why? A lot. Why this? Why that? Shut up and do as you're told. They ask why. They want to know. They've got inquiring minds. Their mind is making sense of the world. So if you turn up and say, "I'm one of the most bullied people in the world," the most likely response that you're going to get from the child or from the children is, "Why are you one of the most bullied people in the world?" What's this one's wife going to say to that? Well, she's not going to say, "Actually, it's not true. I'm just saying that because I'm a narcissist and I have a rampant victim mentality and I need to do this by way of pity play in order to elicit sympathy from people because I need that fuel." Of course, she's not going to say that. She doesn't understand that's what she is. But what's she going to say? "Oh, I'm bullied because people are racists." Why are they racists? Well, because of the colour of my skin. Why? What's wrong with it? Well, I'm a person of colour. Are you? You don't look like one. Remember, children very much call it as they see it. Why are you bullied? Well, people don't like me. Why don't they like you? Well, they don't like the things I say. Why? What do you say? Oh, I just try to say nice things about people. Well, that seems a strange reason to bully you. Yes, it is, isn't it? What's she going to turn around and tell them? "Oh, I'm bullied because much of the world are bigots, racists and haters." That'll just lead to more whys. Yeah, but why would they hate you? "Oh, they're envious of me." And then, of course, that might be something she'd say because of the grandiosity of her narcissism. "They're envious of the fact that I married a prince and I'm beautiful." Oh, right, you're a bit full of yourself, aren't you, love? But it once again demonstrates the inappropriateness of this woman, the spider that scuttles into these situations to ensnare individuals through her sickly sweet layering on of being a pleasant person. When in actual fact, why doesn't she talk about the children and ask them, "Have you ever been bullied? What happened? How did you deal with it?" That mustn't have been very nice. Or, "Do you like school? What worries you? What troubles you?" But no, of course, this one's wife has to make it all about her. "I was one of the most bullied people in the world." Not I was bullied, but I was one of the most bullied people in the world. And it shows the inappropriateness. It shows because she has no emotional empathy. She doesn't actually understand how she ought to be talking to these children. How it actually exposes her nonsensical behaviours. Because people then ask, well, why were you one of the most bullied people in the world? And once again, that demonstrates the collateral consequences of the way that her narcissism works. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.